Welcome to Bitcoin Bankers, and I said it was going to be a big weekend, something probably happening there. So let's have a look at it today. Please like, please subscribe, and let's get into the markets. Okay, so we're looking at the charts here, and last week we were looking at, I think the last video I did was Saturday, and we were still moving in this, what was looking like a bull flag. Okay, and then we had this crazy dump over the weekend, and she shot right down, dropping from about 60,000 down to 52,000. So it was a pretty big dump, and it sort of hit its bounce, working its way back up. And I did a video last week saying what will happen around the 17th. Then I did a video on the 18th, and now it's the 19th. So I knew something would be happening around this junction or before it usually. Really wasn't expecting it to dump down this hard, as I said the other day, but that's Bitcoin. It can do all sorts of crazy things. I did say also you should probably look at taking some profit last week. I sold my Ethereum around 3,200, but we'll have a look at that later. Okay, so what happened? Well, there's been rumors and things about blackouts in China and all this sort of thing, but I think what really happened was that there just wasn't a lot of volume that was there enough to give this a good push up. I think a lot of people, for some reason, panic sold. Really silly thing to do, guys. You really don't need to do it. Anyway, what I think more or less was this was a big long squeeze. That is, a whole lot of sellers in the market came and pushed the price down to liquidate people in holding leverage trading positions to knock them out and steal their money. Now, some of these people that do this think that it's kind of amusing. They think it's funny to do, to wreck people. Others are doing it maybe because it's just what Bitcoin needs to get a healthier market going. Okay, so we're on the 4-hour chart. Where do we go from here? Okay, so we've had a fair bit of buying volume again, just to sort of push this price back up from its bounce. I think it's on the 4-hour. There's a fair bit of momentum. I think we might be able to get up into this range that I highlighted. We shouldn't really want to break through, but we did. I think we might be able to get up to maybe 59. There is a bit of a sell-off on the 1-hour. It's about to happen, as you can see. So that's going to start probably maybe pushing the price down a little bit. It's up to you. If you're holding a trading position, you should be really, really careful. This is the exact reason, this sort of thing here, is that I don't sit on trade sites like Bitfinex and Bybit and all that crap. This is exactly why, and I said this last week. I said I don't really trade anymore with leverage. It's because of this. This is happening more and more frequently. And look, these things happen with the price of Bitcoin rising and falling, but you just got to be real careful about how the market works, and if you're in leveraged positions, you can just get totally screwed over. Okay, so it's better to maybe, you can still trade without leverage on a site. So you just buy a position. When you see it's going to do a nice move up, you let it make those smaller moves, and then you can jump out of your position safely. And so if you do fall, you do have this kind of big sort of fall. I mean, I was holding my Bitcoin, it went down, and I lost a fair bit. Not a lot of money, but it's sort of starting to recover again. And but I can sort of hold those positions, and this doesn't bother me at all. It's a little bit frustrating because when you sort of got a nice bit of profit in your hodl position, it's annoying to see it constantly get knocked down and have to build back up again. But it's for me, I don't have to stress. I don't have to go to bed at night and worry that I'm going to lose $60,000. It's just not going to happen for me. I can take this kind of downturn and not really worry at all. So it's a much safer form of trading. Anyway, we're now up to the 19th. What's going to happen? Okay. On the stochastic, we got a really heavy overbought region. This is going to have to start releasing pressure at some point. We're on a 9, so we might get a 1 to 4 candle correction, maybe bringing us down to around this level, maybe 55. I don't think we'll lose a lot. Will it come down and test down here? Look, maybe. Right now, I don't think it will, because the 4 hour has quite a bit of momentum there, quite a bit of support. It is pretty strong, 4 hour. And there's quite a bit more upside. So, I mean, if we have this down, it might just turn down a little bit and then give it more momentum to come back up. What concerns me is this, and it's the daily chart, okay? As you can see, again, this is a region that we really didn't want to break. I didn't think it would break that, but it just tumbled right through it, which is really unfortunate. But this kind of move does make Bitcoin stronger, okay? It does, as long as it's only short term. The problem is that there is more sort of selling on the way. I think the 4 hour will slow this down quite a lot. We might get a little bit more of a move up to maybe around this region here, like I said before, 57, to maybe even come back and try and push against the resistance here. It's been resistant in the past, but because we've kind of passed this apex, I don't know, in the short term, meaning this week, in the next 4 or 5 days, I think we're just going to continue to have kind of a, maybe a push up, then maybe another sort of pull down, and just sort of bug around in this sort of area for a little bit, until the weekly starts kicking in, okay? And once this weekly sort of, if the daily and the weekly sort of push together and move down a bit, we could certainly see more selling, maybe down to about the 51,000. Can it go lower? Of course. It can go maybe down to 39, but I think that's really not likely at this point in time. But you never know. It's Bitcoin. Okay. Do I think we can go down to 38, 39? It can happen, especially if on the monthly starts breaking down as well. And again, this is what I've been warning about all last week, all this week. This is what I think is could be a problem. Okay, it's lingering. It can cause some heavy falls. We can come right back to the this moving average here, but by the time that's falling and this is growing, it might maybe be around the 31,000. I mean, I think that would be a longer term sort of tragedy. But it's there. We have to consider it. But I also did mention just on this that when we look at Bitcoin, okay, that's its whole birth right there. When we look at 2017, we did see, sorry I'm moving this around a lot, we did see it went past the 13 like it is now, and then it just kept having this count and kept going beyond the count, and then finally turned. We could see this happen because it was, we had this kind of overbought region go on for a year and a half, that we said, before it started breaking down and go into a bear market there. So we could have this same kind of thing continue, could sort of flutter around a little bit and then just sort of making its way up to 190. Maybe by early next year. It's certainly possible. Maybe a little earlier, So can it cover this range from here to say here? It can. And that takes us up to 220,000, which is about what Max Kaiser said. So that possibility does exist also. All right, that's a longer term outlook. But for the now, I think we should be concentrating on how this daily is going to react. There's certainly more downside here. We have to watch out for that. It can cause some problems here. But because we've had this big spike right down, there was quite a lot of selling in there. That cleaned out a lot of people, and also on its way back up, it started picking up a lot of buy orders as well. So those buy orders can contribute to the 4 hourly and continue to push this price up that little bit more before we see a bit of sideways action again. So look, Bitcoin is frustrating at times. This is what you got to put up with, guys, and that's about my take on it at the moment. So for now, expect it to maybe just pull back a little bit to the top of here, and then maybe try and have a little bit more of a shoot off. There is sort of resistance around this region here, so maybe 58.3. Maybe we can see it come up to there, and see how we go. If we look at Ethereum, Ethereum is slightly different. Okay, Ethereum had this breakdown, and as I said, it would probably come down and test this support here, and that's what it's done. So Ethereum's pretty strong. Also a bit stronger on the stochastic as well. Excuse me, I got a bit of a, must be a throat thing going around. The fella from Nuggets News also had a bit of a sore throat the other day, so must be a sore throat thing going around Australia at the moment. Okay. Still, the volume has sort of decreased on the buys, okay, but that's nothing to really be concerned about. That's just sort of falling in line with, you know, people buying in and then trying to take some profit here before it sort of pulls back a little. We may see a pullback, perhaps to this range here. That's pretty drastic. I don't know if it'll have that big an effect, but you know, certainly maybe a pullback to about the 2200 on this 1 hourly. Okay, but all in all, Ethereum is actually, once again, just appears on its price and just all the on the data here, it just appears to be quite a lot stronger than Bitcoin. Okay. Yeah, I actually sold the other day when I was saying take some profit. I took my profit. It was around 3,200 Australian. If the top was right here, so it's probably around this region here. I might have taken some profit. I know it went up to 25. So it might have been around this region here. So before all this happened, I actually sold my Ethereum and let it come down. Then I bought back in again yesterday, last night, around, I don't know what on this one, go back, 150 bucks, maybe around this sort of region here. I actually sort of bought back in, and then just sort of have been letting that ride, you know, and see how we go from there. Alright, one other one I did buy, I just had a bit of a look at Binance. I bought into Binance, bought a couple of them, and I've been letting them ride. That's going pretty strong at the moment. On the daily, still got some down action here, so this may pull back soon. But again, because of this strong wick that's showing up on most of the coins, especially Bitcoin, I think that was a good flush. That really took out a lot of sell orders. It took out a lot of, it picked up a lot of buy orders on the way back up, and it's kind of that gives it that extra little bit of strength. But because this daily is still coming down, we just got to be aware that, you know, there's probably going to be some more sell-off action, and it's probably going to just teeter around this until we get some indication that there's some more buying momentum, that people are far more keen. I think a lot of people are still nervous about getting into the getting back into Bitcoin at the moment, because it has had such a big run up. In most of these other coins, last Thursday, Friday, my time, there was a massive crypto run, as you all know, on all the altcoins and stuff. They had a big run up, and obviously it didn't last very long, and they all sort of sold off very quickly as well. So welcome to the world of crypto, man. It's a crazy roller coaster ride, but you know, if you know sort of where the better places to get in at and the safer places to make safer trades without leverage, you shouldn't have too much problem. Okay, if we look at Cardano is actually just fallen back right into this triangle. I said last week I wanted to actually see it sort of stay in this range and then shoot out. It shot out early and then it's come back in here. So this is actually good for Cardano. If even if there's still more selling action that's going to sort of push it down, I think it can still stay in this triangle a little bit longer, just in time for it to maybe flip and then start pushing up. Can't guarantee it, but you know, Cardano is still looking really good for a climb up pretty soon. maybe by the end of April we might see something kick in that gives it a bit more of a push at the end of the month. You can see over here I've got my list of coins as well. Most of them are back in the green, looking pretty good. Stock market is a bit iffy. But the one thing, I want to go back to Bitcoin just one time, and one thing I meant to mention here was its alignment with the stock market, right? So we can see that on the daily, she's still pushing down. On the 4 hourly, it's pushing up, all right? I think the 4 hourly push will continue, and it will slow the daily progression of selling off down a lot until we get to a certain point where maybe we're breaking out back into the band. But if we have a look at the stock market, I think it's this extra strength here in the stock market that's sort of keeping Bitcoin from dropping down. It's kind of, they follow the same momentum, you know what I mean? But I think there will be a sell-off in the stock market soon, and it'll probably coincide with the Bitcoin daily price action. Okay, here's the Bitcoin daily price action, and the stock market, the US stock market. Let's go to the daily on both. You can see that the daily is really, really overbought. We've passed our 13. We've got 2 more candles that have just keep pushing the price up. This could just go parabolic, but I don't know how long this is going to last for. So, you know, this could stay up for quite a while. If we have a look at the weekly, always look at what's behind it. You know, there's still quite a bit of momentum pushing up in the stochastic here. Still a lot of buying momentum. This is probably coming off all the printing that's been done in the US. So, you know, if this sustains, I think it could help Bitcoin a bit. But we'll have to wait and see. Bitcoin still does its own thing. Things still happen to Bitcoin that don't happen in the stock market. But there is that correlation there you've got to be aware of, you know what I mean? However, if things kind of keep going the way they're going, I'll be kind of a little bit bearish a short term over this week. I think we still will come down, we'll come up and then come back down again this week. This will probably flatten out, but the problem is there's really not a lot of supporting areas, maybe here, that can really slow Bitcoin down. You know, maybe this region here, which brings us down to around the $50,000 mark. Just be aware of it, be prepared for that. You know, this kind of support is there, but there's just not a lot in here at the moment that's sustaining Bitcoin, apart from this big sort of knockout blow. Let's see, I think that's about it for today. If you want to have a look at Dogecoin, this is Dogecoin. The daily, still some selling momentum. It's hitting a 9 here as well. So expect maybe a correction in Dogecoin. If we want to have a look at the 4 hourly, again, a lot of momentum on the 4 hourly to sort of give that, to slow the daily stochastic down and give the a little bit more buying pressure on the daily. If we go to the hour, yeah, a bit choppy, you know, not a lot of purchasing volume there, but it does have the potential to really sort of have a nice little spike up, and I would focus on maybe this range here. So if you want to buy in and have a nice little sort of run up from 32 cents to maybe 38, that's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. And so 38, 39 cent mark, US dollars, of course. Australia price is slightly different. And, you know, I could raise it a little bit to maybe here. And if it can come up and challenge that previous high, you know, you might be in business. There might be a good little trade there, and you can make quite a bit off that, you know, the 7-8 cent move. And you can, believe it or not, you can actually make quite a bit off that, depending on how much you put in, of course. But that's still, we have a look at the percentage. From here to here, I mean, that's a 21% move, and it could do that in 6 hours, you know what I mean? So that'd be a nice move. So something to consider, guys. Anyway, that's it for today. That's all I'm going to cover. I think as far as Bitcoin and that, I think we still have some higher price momentum. There is this resistance area we're moving into. Got to be careful. It's on the hourly and the 30-minute. Both have some more selling off to do a little bit, but I think it'll be a bit slower. We're not going to get dumps like this anytime shortly, I don't think. Has a little bit of support here, but again, it's Bitcoin. You just got to be careful, and Bitcoin affects the rest of the markets. So that's about my take for it. I can't provide any advice. You have to make your own decisions, but always just try and focus on the little moves where you can just pick up a little bit of profit, and you can sit there for a day or so, and even if you want to hold longer, it's up to you. But we did have this event around this between the 17th and the 19th. We did see it coming. I made some calls, let you know. You should have probably taken some profit on a lot of your coins and things. And until next time, guys, Bitcoin bankers, you can always bank on Bitcoin. See you next time.